Have you ever had the same dream or a very similar dream in the same night or even the same week or the same month? Well, that's called dream duplication. And we're going to talk about what dream duplication means. So, having the same dream in the same night or within the same week or within weeks of one another is called dream duplication, and it's very significant. And so we're going to talk about what dream duplication means. Now, I'm not talking about having the same dream over and over again, but just having the same or very similar dream only twice. And so, as an example, I'll be reading from the Bible, from the book of Genesis, the 41st chapter. And in it, it talks about the dream duplication experience that Pharaoh had. And so we'll learn from this passage what dream duplication really means. And so I'm going to be reading from the Amplified Version. You can read along with me. So I'll start at verse 1. And it says, after 2 full years, Pharaoh dreamed that he stood by the river Nile. And behold, there came up out of the river 7 well-favored cows, sleek and handsome and fat, and they grazed in the reed grass. And behold, seven other cows came up after them out of the river, ill-favored, gaunt, and ugly, and stood by the fat cows on the bank of the river Nile. And the ill-favored, gaunt, and ugly cows ate up the well-favored and fat cows. Then Pharaoh awoke, but he slept, and he dreamed the second time. And behold, 7 ears of grain came up out of one stalk, plump and good. And behold, after them 7 ears of grain sprouted thin and blighted by the east wind. And the 7 thin ears of grain devoured the 7 plump and full ears. And Pharaoh woke up, and behold, it was a dream. So when the morning came, his spirit was troubled, and he sent and he called for all the magicians and all the wise men of Egypt. And Pharaoh told him his dreams, but not one could interpret it to him. And so Pharaoh was not a godly man, but he knew enough to know that having similar dreams, 2 very similar dreams in the same night, was significant, and it held an important meaning. So important that he called for the magicians and the soothsayers in his kingdom to interpret the dream, but the Bible says that none of them could interpret Pharaoh's dreams. And so verse number 9 says, then the chief butler said to Pharaoh, I remember my faults today, when Pharaoh was angry with his servants and put me in custody in the captain of the guard's house, both me and the chief baker. We dreamed a dream in the same night, he and I. We dreamed, each of us, according to the significance of the interpretation of his dream. And there was there with us a young man, a Hebrew, servant to the captain of the guard and chief executioner. And we told him our dreams, and he interpreted them to us, to each man according to the significance of his dream. And as he interpreted to us, so it came to pass. I was restored to my office as chief butler, and the baker was hanged. Then Pharaoh sent and called Joseph, and they brought him hastily out of the dungeon. But Joseph first shaved himself, changed his clothes, and made himself presentable. Then he came into Pharaoh's presence. And Pharaoh said to Joseph, I have dreamed a dream, and there is no one who can interpret it. I have heard it said of you that you can understand a dream and interpret it. Joseph answered Pharaoh, it is not in me. God, not I, will give Pharaoh a favorable answer of peace. And Pharaoh said to Joseph, in my dream, behold, I stood on the bank of the river Nile. And behold, there came up out of the river Nile 7 fat, sleek, and handsome cows, and they grazed in the reed grass of a marshy pasture. And behold, 7 other cows came up after them, undernourished, gaunt, and ugly, just skin and bones, such emaciated animals as I have never seen in all of Egypt. And the lean and ill-favored cows ate up the 7 fat cows that had come first. And when they had eaten them up, it could not be detected and known that they had eaten them, for they were still as thin and emaciated as at the beginning. Then I woke up, but again I fell asleep and dreamed. And I saw in my dream, and behold, 7 ears of grain growing on one stalk, plump and good. And behold, 7 other ears, withered, thin, and blighted by the east wind, sprouted after them. And the thin ears devoured the 7 good ears. Now I told this to the magicians, but there was no one who could tell me what it meant. Verse 25, then Joseph said to Pharaoh, the 2 dreams are one. God has shown Pharaoh what he is about to do. So now Joseph just announced to Pharaoh that the 2 dreams he had were one and the same. They had the same message. So now he is going to give Pharaoh an interpretation of the dreams. So verse 26, here is the interpretation that Joseph is given. The 7 good cows are 7 years, and the 7 good ears of grain are 7 years. The 2 dreams are one in their meaning. And the 7 thin and ill-favored cows that came up after them are 7 years, and also the 7 empty ears of grain, blighted and shriveled by the east wind, they are 7 years of hunger and famine. This is the message, just as I have told Pharaoh. God has shown Pharaoh what he is about to do. Take note, 7 years of great plenty throughout all the land of Egypt are coming. Then there will come 7 years of hunger and famine. And there will be so much want that all the great abundance of the previous years will be forgotten in the land of Egypt. And hunger, destitution, starvation will exhaust, consume, and finish the land. And the plenty will become quite unknown in the land because of that following famine, for it will be very woefully severe. And now here in verse 32, Joseph is about to tell Pharaoh why he had 2 very similar dreams, a dream duplication. Verse 32, it says that the dream was sent twice to Pharaoh, and in 2 forms indicates that this thing which God will very soon bring to pass is fully prepared and established by God. So here, Joseph is he gave the interpretation to Pharaoh that 7 years of plenty are about to hit the land, and for 7 years, everything's going to be great. But then after the 7 years, it'll be 7 more years of famine and destitution and hunger, and it will be terrible. So that's the interpretation. But the reason why God told Pharaoh, or gave Pharaoh 2 dreams, 2 very similar dreams, is because what Joseph said in verse 32, that it was established by God. In other words, it was set and it was sure to come to pass, and it was going to come to pass very quickly. So anytime we have a dream duplication experience, 2 dreams, very similar in the same night, or even in the same week, or within months of each other, God is showing you in the message of the dream that that thing is going to come to pass, that it's established, it's going to happen, and it's going to happen very shortly. Now, you can have two people in the same household who have the same dream. This is similar to dream duplication, or one person having very similar or the same dream in the same night. For instance, my husband and I have had the same exact dream in the same night. Very, very similar dreams. My children have had the same dreams or very similar dreams in the same night. For instance, years ago, my daughter and son had the same or similar dreams. My daughter woke up first and she told me a dream that she had. She said, "Mommy, I had a dream that I went outside and I looked up and I saw $5 bills raining down from the sky. And I tried to catch as many as I could." She went off to school. My son, my younger son, who was 10 years younger than her, he woke up. I woke him up to go to school. He said, "Mommy, I had a dream that when I went outside, there were nickels all over the ground. And I was grabbing as many as I could, and I was putting them in my pocket." So here, they both had very similar dreams in the same night, which neither one of them knew that they had these dreams. And so, in my daughter's dream, she dreamt that $5 bills were raining down from the sky, and my son dreamt that there were nickels all over the ground. So the common theme there in both the dreams, if you haven't caught it, is the number 5. And 5 in a dream represents the grace of God. And so God was showing me through the dreams of my children that he was going to cover them or rain down his grace upon their lives, and he was going to prosper them. The prosperity of the Lord would be rest upon them as well. And so dream duplication, you can have the same dream, same night, or within the same week, or within a very close time frame, or you can have two people in the same household who have very similar dreams within the same night or the same week. So it means that God is establishing that thing that he's showing you in the dream, and that it will shortly come to pass. You won't have to wait a long time to see it come to pass. Now, this is very different, or a little bit different, but quite a bit different, I should say, from a recurring dream. So a recurring dream is a little bit different from dream duplication. And so we're going to talk about what a recurring dream means next time. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this video talking about dream duplication. So if you have any questions or any comments, and y'all have been leaving some really great dreams in the comment section, feel free to leave any questions or comments or dreams that you've had in the comment section. Don't forget to like, and if you haven't already done so, subscribe and turn on that little notification bell so you won't miss any of these videos. And if you would like me to talk about any topics in particular concerning dreams or even visions or even the prophetic, just leave them in the comments section below. And I'll talk to you next time.